Now, videos like the one I'm doing today are some of my absolute favorites here on the channel because we're gonna get down and dirty with some coverage adjustment stuff that even the best adjusters in Madden might not know about the game. Now, this channel is for players of all different backgrounds. So if you're a beginner, make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. I've got content for you. If you're an intermediate or advanced level player, I've also got tips right here for you on the channel. I upload Monday through Friday in the mornings with shorts in the afternoon. So make sure you guys are plugged in, hit that notification bell. Today, we're gonna be talking about some super deep adjustments that will help your coverage on the back end. Some of this stuff pro players know. One of these things, maybe they don't know about this game. So let's go ahead and get started with our first feature, which is turning match on and off multiple times pre-snap while playing zone drops. Many players obviously know that when you set zone drops for your flats or your curl flats or your hooks, that this will turn off match rules for the play that you break the huddle in. So you saw me set those zone drops. I've done this tip a million times here on the channel where obviously we know that if I come out and I snap the ball with this cover 4 quarters, it's not gonna play match. I snap this, you see it's basically like a cover 4 drop, and you know, it's still good coverage, but it's not actually match. Now, the tip everyone knows is that if you have zone drops on and you want to turn them off, all you have to do is reset your play. To do this, you hit X and then left trigger. That's going to turn your zone drops off completely. This means that that curl flat that I set to 5, which also applies to quarter flats, no longer applies. And now the match is on in the background. So when I snap this ball, you'll see that this is in fact match coverage and we're able to play this. This is also a little bit more evident if I reset this play and I have someone actually cross the middle of the field here. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So when I snap it like this, you'll see that, you know, those players end up matching and playing man-to-man on the route. So this is how you turn match on and off, just by resetting your zone drops. But did you know that if you want to, you can go back to those zone drops even after you've reset your play after breaking the huddle? We've all been in situations where we're playing an opponent online where maybe we want to have zone drops on, but then they audible to something and we think, oh, you know what? I don't want those zone drops anymore. I want to play match, or I want my hard flat to actually play the flat instead of dropping to 30. There's a million different reasons you might want to turn your zone drops off in this game. Well, you can do this by keeping the play that you broke the huddle in your audibles. Now, this is usually advice that a lot of players would not give because you've only got so many audible slots on your formation. But with the ability to set audibles on the fly by hitting left trigger at the play call menu, choosing a slot and inserting a play, you could actually do this down to down just to make sure you have this in your back pocket. But again, most players tend to come out in one of probably 2 or 3 defenses at most in their favorite formation. So most likely you're going to be calling a play that you could also keep in your audibles for the purpose of this. Now, to simulate this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call cover 4 palms. The reason I want to call cover 4 palms is that it has specific rules against trips formation. So I'm going to come out in a trips formation here with the running back and a solo receiver to the other side. And I'm going to break the huddle in cover 4 palms. I have zone drops on in the background. This means that match coverage is off. To prove this, I'm going to set up a route combination that will not be matched. So in palms coverage, believe it or not, the outside corner is responsible for the outside receiver no matter what he does. That means that on this drag route to Calvin Johnson, he should play man-to-man, but he doesn't because we're not in match due to the fact that we have zone drops on. What we're going to do here is we are going to reset our play. So just like I said, X, left trigger. Now match is on. So let's say that I set up that exact same route combo. Now we snap the football. You're going to see that that match is being played. And now that drag is manned up by that outside receiver. If we like that adjustment, great. We can always reset the play. But let's say that we end up resetting our play out of the huddle. And then we think at the last second, oh man, I'm having second thoughts. I really don't want to play match anymore on this play. Well, this is the reason that we put the play in our audibles as well, because there is a difference between resetting your play that you broke the huddle in versus a fresh audible into that play. So you see right here that I have cover 4 palms in my audibles. If I actually hit the button X that corresponds to that audible, you are now going to see that when I set up this route combo once again, that we are back to zone drops being on. This is not the same as a reset. So now we're back to our purples dropping to 5, any flats dropping to 30, and you see that this is now once again zone coverage. So it's a completely different type of coverage. This is also super useful in the event that, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you want to play a cover 2 base or a cover 6 base, and you think to yourself, all right, well, maybe I'm facing a player that's running trips tight end or a bunch tight end type formation, and they're attacking the flat very, very quickly with the running back. Well, if I have my zone drop set to 30, this is a problem. So what we can do is go ahead and reset our play. And now all of a sudden our zone drops are off, our match is on, and I have the ability to change that player to a hard flat. And you're going to see that he is going to play the hard flat while we have match coverage on the other side of the field. That's what cover 6 is. It's cover 2 to one side and it's cover 4 to the other. It's a matching variant. It's actually the same variant. It's palms on the trip side. So you end up with those same rules. But of course, like I said, if you're ever in a situation where you think to yourself, oh man, I reset my play right away, and then later in the snap, you think, oh, I'm fearing that they're going to, attack us to the deep right sideline. I've already reset my play and maybe cover 6 is not in my audibles. Well, that's okay, because you can audible fresh into cover 4 palms and then go ahead and put that blue zone on the field with a deep zone over the top of it. And you're going to see here that 30-yard flat is now back on the field. So if somebody runs a deep corner route, you're going to be in a spot where that guy is now dropping all the way back to that depth and takes that away. We have to throw it away. So again, this is a very simple tip. If you have zone drops off, you want to go back to match or default settings, you reset your play. But if you ever want those zone drops back, audible fresh into the play that you broke the huddle in, or just have another play that you like in your audibles, audible into it, and then put the zone that you want on the field. It's pretty simple. Most players are probably going to do this out of like a cover 4, whether it's quarters in a 3-2 type defense or a 6-1 type defense, or whether you're playing out of a cover 4 in something else. That is the most popular shell. And sometimes needing those zone drops on the fly is very, very useful, but you only want to use them, when the situation calls for it. A lot of times that's an audible or a motion where you think, oh no, I need those back. That's why having the fresh audible after you've already reset is a very, very good tip. So that is our first adjustment that every player should start utilizing within their defense. It will make drastic changes to your coverage ability overnight without you changing your scheme at all. Now, before we get into our second tip here in today's video, make sure you guys check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. I mentioned earlier that this channel is for players of all backgrounds, from beginner to intermediates to even expert level tips from time to time. Gridiron Game Plans will change your game overnight, even if you are a beginner. Our vault is focused on what the pro players do. This is called the meta, or the most effective tactics available. We take the meta and explain it to you. This is what they're doing. But most important, this is how you beat it when you face it online. In addition to that, you get all offensive and defensive game plans. In fact, I just updated my 1-4 defensive game plan with a brand new defense just this past week. So make sure you guys go check that out. You guys can also get my offensive game plans, anything else that I put out game plan wise on the website, included at no additional charge. And there's a members only Discord where we have lab sessions every single week. These sessions are for you guys to come and ask whatever you guys want to know about the game. Maybe it's something you can't find on the website. Maybe it's something that's not on the website at all that you need clarity on. Maybe it's about a new trend or clarity on a AP setup. It could be anything that you want to know about the game. I'm there every single Wednesday in the evening to answer your questions and help you guys on the spot. You guys unlock everything on the website for $9.95 a month. Weekly updated vault tips, game plans, lab sessions, you name it, you're going to get better. Go check it out. All right, now our next one is going to be really fun, because this is a way that you can kind of get what I would call like a zone hot route master on the field at your slot corner or your safety position. So what I want to do here is show you guys a traditional nickel formation. I don't have any packages active at this moment, and I'm just going to go through these spots. If you guys watched a video I did last week, I actually talked about this in some decent detail, but I wanted to break it down as its own topic here in today's video. So when we take a look at this traditional nickel defense, a nickel defense has 2 safeties, 3 underneath corners, usually 2 linebackers, and a front 4. You'll also run into nickel defenses that are 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 corners, and 2 safeties as well. But Again, traditionally speaking, you have two safeties on the field. You take a look at their adjustments. They get the traditional safety adjustments. Those are going to be deep halves, inside thirds, outside thirds, inside quarters, with the ability to play a robber hook curl, man up a player on the field, or blitz. And that's pretty cool. And then, of course, we have our slot corner, which gets your seam flat, hard flat, curl flat, vertical hook, spy, bluff, blitz, and man coverage. Those are your traditional slot adjustments. Now, there are formations in the game that default to what I'm about to show you. For instance, the big nickel over G. I believe the 4-2-5 under as well. But if you guys utilize a package in your nickel formation that says something like, for instance, strong safety nickel or free safety nickel, or there's also some of them that call it big nickel, meaning you put a bigger coverage player at the nickel corner slot. This puts a safety into that position, which changes the package overall. We now have 3 safeties on the field. So when we go back into our adjustment here, what you're going to notice is that our safeties up top now, instead of having the inside quarter, inside third, outside third, deep half, they now have completely different assignments that are largely deep zone focused. You're going to have outside thirds that you could send to either side of the field. I'm not an advocate for it, but if you guys are super crazy, you have the ability to take this right safety and put him into a left side deep third. This could be cool when you're really focusing on like underneath adjustments. You know, you put yourself in a situation where like you're manning up guys and just like trying to like get super crazy with it. You know, you can put this guy into an outside third and give flat help, and then, you know, just play the middle of the field. There's a lot of goofy things you could do with a package like this, and pro players will from time to time utilize this. I'm not an advocate for it every down, but every single defense has a time where you kind of need to get adjusty, if you will. But that's not it. You also take a look here at this slot corner. He's our third safety. He gets those same adjustments. So when you think about it, you have the ability to put him into an outside third. This allows you to create kind of that, what we would call like cover 3 cloud meta, where you would have like basically a front 4 rushing, and then you kind of have you know, the outside cloud flats, and then everyone's playing like a third in this. And that's an okay defense. I'm not a huge fan of the outside third on the slot corner, but I do like the ability to roll my safeties every now and then and use those cross zones. Well, this is where the global hot route master for zone kind of comes into play, because the package that you broke the huddle in for the purpose of changing up the safeties in the slot corner only applies to the play that you broke the huddle in. So the play that we actually broke the huddle in was cover 4 quarters. But check this out. If I audible into cover 4 palms, this changes the play completely. When I click onto this slot corner now, take a look at his assignments. You see that he's got seam flat, hard flat, curl flat, vertical hook, bluff, QB spy, man, and blitz. In other words, he went from being a safety to being a slot corner, even though he himself is a safety. And of course, if we take a look at our safeties up top, they go back to having inside third, inside quarter, outside third, deep half, curl flat, hook curl, man, and blitz. Traditional safety setup, okay? And then if I reset my play completely back to the original play call, he goes back to having those adjustments as well. So similar to zone drops and turning them on and off, and similar to the matching rules and all the different things that we just broke down in our first half of this video, this tip kind of has a similar flavor to it, meaning that the package applies to the play that you broke the huddle in. It doesn't apply to the plays that you audible into. So when you kind of think about it, you could actually fuse together the zone drops with the package sub. Why is that important? Well, you might be able to mix and match both. So like, let's say for instance that in this hypothetical, I want to play my curl flats on 30 and I'm coming out in the free safety nickel package. Let's say I choose, just for this play, Tampa 2. And I put Tampa 2 in my audibles. I have the ability here in this defense, it doesn't matter what we choose on offense, when we break the huddle, we know 2 things are true. Zone drops are on and package is on. Now, what can we do? We can reset our play, which turns zone drops off. You can see that by how the cloud flats went from deep to shallow. I'll show you what they look like when zone drops are on. Look at how deep those cloud flats are. When I reset the play to turn off zone drops, the cloud flats come down. That's your indicator that zone drops are off. But when we talk about the package on these players have outside thirds, middle thirds, the deep zone adjustments for the safeties, the 3 safety rules active. When I audible out of cover 2 into, let's say, cover 4, what do we know? We know a couple things. One, our 3 safety package is now off. Our slot corner has vertical hook, hard flat, curl flat, seam flat. But on the back end, we know zone drops are on. Notice here that our outside cloud flat is that deeper cloud flat as opposed to the more shallow one that you have when you reset your defense completely to turn off those. Now, if I were to audible back into Tampa 2 as a fresh audible, when we take a look at those adjustments, what do you see? I have seam flat, hard flat, curl flat, vertical hook, man, spy, bluff blitz, and blitz. So we're back into the original play that we were in with zone drops on, but our package is now off. How crazy is that? So in other words, I can come out with zone drops on, package on, individually turn the zone drops off but leave the package on, or I can turn the package off and leave the zone drops on, or I can turn both off altogether on the fly. So the possibilities are limitless. We can change our safeties to anything, our nickel corner to anything. We can do that with the zone drops on or off. We can turn it all off on the fly. You just have to know that you set the play that you break the huddle in your audible, and that the packages in the zone drops only apply to the play that you broke the huddle out of. So by keeping the play that you break the huddle in your audible set, you have the ability to adjust on the fly and use any feature on or off as many times as you want. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. This was a pretty high level one. I hope you guys appreciated it. If you did, make sure you guys give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and make sure you guys check out gridirongameplans.gg. If you guys are enjoying all this, there's so much more on the website to unravel and improve at the game. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later this afternoon with our short, or tomorrow with another long form upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab and good luck.